काय म्हणताय सर?
कसं चाललंय?
छान.
ठीक आहे.
हो, तुम्हाला बघून मला वाटलं.
मला बरं वाटलं.
नमस्कार सर.
काय म्हणतेस? कसं चाललंय? खूप दिवसांनी भेट झाली.
काय म्हणताय सर? सुरू करूया का सर आपण?
किती वाजतंय? 5 मिनिटं आहेत ना अजून? 5 मिनिटं आहेत ना अजून? बाकी कसं चाललंय? ठीक चाललंय?
हो.
एचओडी आले.
मला वाटतं आपण आता सुरू करूया.
हो हो
लेट मी
करूया,
वेलकम
Yes.
फर्स्ट. सो नमो नमः, स्वागतम. I welcome you all on behalf of Department of Sanskrit, University of Mumbai and Rutayan. Department of Sanskrit, University of Mumbai and Rutayan is celebrating both centenary year of Professor S.A. Dange with various academic events like lecture series. It's my great privilege to welcome you all for lectures on manuscriptology by Professor Siddhartha Wakankar sir. Manuscriptology is a very important field of research which gives an opportunity to explore something new. Manuscript forms the rich cultural heritage of our country. There are many manuscript collections which needs the attention of researchers. There are various fields like cataloging of manuscripts, preservation and conservation of manuscripts, editing and publishing of manuscripts, etc. Students can acquire different skills to work in this field. Department of Sanskrit conducts a course on diploma in manuscriptology. This is a great opportunity for students to hear from very senior professor and researchers, Professor Siddhartha Wakankar sir, who has profusely worked on the manuscripts in his career. I welcome you, sir. Namaste. My humble salutations to you. I welcome Professor Dange madam, senior professor who have joined here, and all the students who are participating in all these lecture series. So welcome you all. Now I hand over to Dr. Madhavi Nassar.
Namo Namah. This is my proud privilege to introduce Professor Dr. Siddhartha Wakankar to all of you. Actually, he does not need an introduction. He is such a very big name in the field of Sanskrit and Indic studies. But however, there are certain things which, certain facets of his personality which needs to be brought out in front of all of you. So I'm introducing him. He had a brilliant academic career with the Archie Bhandarkar Prize for Vyakaran as his specialization for MA. He, with a brief stint of teaching in Mumbai, he joined the Oriental Institute at the Maharaja Sayajirao University, Baroda, and from there he retired as the deputy director of that institute. He was instrumental. I would say in earlier manuscriptology was not a subject. There were scholars who could read and read manuscripts, unearth them, edit them, and then bring them in front of the academia. But I would say that Professor Dr. Siddhartha Wakankar sir is one of the pioneers of starting a branch of knowledge called manuscriptology in India. So that is his immense contribution. So he brought many manuscripts to the Oriental Institute. Right from Kerala, he has fetched manuscripts and brought them to the institute. So that is his contribution. And apart from manuscripts, another contribution which he has is games and puzzles. So he has worked on how ancient games are, and he is one of the rare scholars of ancient chess. So he was the one who put forth that ancient chess was not a matter of only two people to play. It got modified later. Earlier, it was played with 4 players, and therefore it is known as Chaturanga Bala. So then Mokta Patta, that is snakes and ladders, which the reference to which occurs in many Jaina texts, were also unearthed by him. So anybody who wants to learn and study games, Wakankar sir is the name for that. Then apart from manuscriptology, apart from specializing in games, he has also worked on ancient Indian sciences. So our book, which was published by the Department of Sanskrit, which is Animals and Birds in Sanskrit Literature, does have his prastavana for it. So he is such a great scholar. He has worked on Gaja Shastra, which got published as Palakapya Shastra in the form of a book just 7-8 years back. So he is such a big personality in the name of a personality in the field of manuscriptology that I would say that that without his lectures, without his guidance, it is impossible for us to understand this branch of knowledge. So I feel that Professor S.A. Dange centuries of celebrations should have such a big name joined to it. And so, sir, I'm indeed extremely grateful to you for making it possible to join and agreeing to deliver the lecture on manuscriptology. Another thing which I'd like to tell you is that his love for the Department of Sanskrit University of Mumbai is immense. And so it is like for us, he is our hakkacha manus. And he readily helps us. Many times he goes out of the way and helps us in many in subjects of knowledge and research. So that is his facet of his personality. So over to you, Wakankar sir, for the lecture.
Thank you, Dr. Madhavi Madam. It's my pleasure to talk to your students in this prestigious series when we are celebrating the centenary of one of the luminaries of Sanskrit in modern times. I did not have the privilege to work under Dr. Dange or Mrs. Dange, but both of them had good relations with me, and I do hereby pay my respects to him and hope that I will be in a better position to give justice to your expectation reposed in me. At the outset, let me thank the organizers for giving this opportunity to me to come back to my own department, my alma mater. माझ्या माहेरी बोलवलं म्हणून अभिनंदन. I must say a few words about my work. I joined the Oriental Institute, Baroda in January 1977 and was amazed to see a lot of manuscripts stacked in our manuscript section. Fortunately, I was a part of the manuscript section, and till my retirement in 2009, after putting in a long service of 32 years and a half in the same manuscript section, I had the privilege to physically read and handle the manuscripts. And it was my practice that every day I used to write down one page of a manuscript. So in that way, I collected many manuscripts, and I have copies of nearly 100 manuscripts transcribed in my own hand in Devanagari. Interest in manuscriptology grew more and more because these are the resources, very rare, which are not much known outside. And there was no question of plagiarism that we advocate the modern parlance. So when you work on a manuscript, you are bringing out something new which is not already known. So it was my intention to do some work on that literature which was not known, which was not printed, which was not brought to the notice of the scholars. And when I was doing my BA and MA, a thought came to me that why we are studying only these traditionally accepted fields like Veda, Vyakarana, etc., etc. Are there no other fields where a Sanskrit scholar can work? So in course of time, I got to know of a person known as Rudolf von Leyden. He was a reporter in Times of India and a wonderful man, and his interest of working was in playing cards, what we call Ganjifa, Dashavatari, Ganjifa, etc., etc. I had already 2 manuscripts of Ganjifa with me, and when he came to Baroda for a lecture, I met him. He came to my room, and one important thing which I got from him was a Xerox copy of a rare manuscript of Ganjifa, which was deposited in Anup Sanskrit Library, Bikaner. The problem with all our Indians is, if a foreigner comes to our institute, we readily give him all the help, all the copies, etc., etc. But I tried to contact the Maharaja of Bikaner. I never got anything, but this gentleman, Rudolf von Leyden, a Xerox copy of a manuscript, which students of history know that Anup Singh was a regent of Aurangzeb in Maharashtra, especially in Aurangabad area. And he had a very good habit, we should say, euphemistically, to collect manuscripts and books of his interest, carry them from Maharashtra to his place in Bikaner. So in this way, he enriched the manuscript library of Bikaner, Anup Sanskrit Library, and divested the Maharashtrian scholars of knowing their own culture. So this particular manuscript, Ganjifa Khelana Krama, was one of the rare manuscripts. In fact, it is only one manuscript, unique codex, that is only one manuscript. So when I got that, I studied it and published in 1981 from the Journal of the Asiatic Society. Then while I was working on Ganjifa, I got interested in another game, which is supposed to be the king of indoor games, that is chess, Buddhivada, or Chaturanga. I worked on this, and in 1985, I wrote a long paper on a Sanskrit works on the game of Ganjifa and playing cards, Ganjifa is playing cards, and chess or Buddhivada. That particular work, bibliographical work, is still supposed to be an exhaustive bibliography of Sanskrit works on chess or Buddhivada or Chaturanga. I'll explain the difference between Chaturanga and Buddhivada later on. Because that is the games in Sanskrit literature is a very special field of my research, and it requires nearly 2 hours to speak on the same. So today I'm not going to speak on that subject. Only I'm introducing you as to how I got interested in this manuscript work. When I got these manuscripts, I turned my attention to very rare manuscripts, and particularly only those manuscripts which are available in 1 or 2 copies. And in this way, slowly and slowly, I published nearly 40 research papers on unknown Sanskrit manuscripts till I submitted my PhD thesis. So my interest in manuscript study got impetus because I was studying or staying in the manuscript department itself, and fortunately, I retired as the in charge of the manuscript section. So that gave me the opportunity to physically handle each and every manuscript, and we have 30,142 manuscripts. And I can say that there is 1,000 manuscripts already I have written down, copied. So that is the way I continued my studies of manuscripts in particular. My second important viewpoint was everybody is working on Vyakarana, Nyaya, Vedanta, etc. These are all accepted or traditionally accepted fields of research. So I thought of going a little away from this thought and concentrated more on the games. The third important game on which I worked was playing cards is over, chess is over. Third was what we call known as snakes and ladders. It is known in Maharashtra as the Mokshapata of Jnanadeva. I gave a lecture on this in Germany when I was speaking on the tradition of Maharashtra as far as chess is concerned. So these three games gave me a lot of appreciation, especially from foreign world and foreign scholars. And I got benefited by one of their very important qualities. See, if a foreigner comes to know that you are sincerely working on the particular topic with dedication, they give full cooperation to you without expecting anything in return. So I had good contacts with foreign scholars, and in course of time, I started getting rare manuscripts or their copies from foreign countries. I'll name only one manuscript that is termed as Shanmukha Kalpa. Have you heard the name of Shanmukha Kalpa? Shanmukha Kalpa is a manuscript on Chauriya Shastra. We know there is a description of Chauri in Murchaka, Dik, or Sudraka, all things. Mula Deva is supposed to be the person who created Chauriya Shastra, works on that. But this work, which was supposed to be in Asiatic Society, Calcutta, was published from a German university in 1966 by Dr. Dieter. And that Shanmukha Kalpa is devoted to the practice of how a chora or a thief is supposed to go on with his work. Then mantra is there, tantra is there, churnas are there, anjana, all these things, tantra, mantra, everything is described in that manuscript. What are the qualities, what are the requisites of a person who enters a house? So all those things, so you can do one thing, you can understand that Indians have made everything into a Shastra. So Chauriya also had become a Shastra, and Shanmukha Kalpa is the only manuscript. And I may add one more detail. It's a sad thing. Last time when I went to Calcutta in 210, I could not get the copy of the manuscript. They said that Shanmukha Kalpa manuscript misplaced. Fortunately, I had a Xerox copy provided to me by one of my very best foreign friends, Professor Dr. George Cardona. He is a grammarian and supposed to be a modern Panini. He is writing hugely on Panini. So this is the way I got introduced and interested in manuscript studies. One more detail is, unfortunately, when I was working there was no scholar who could teach me what is manuscript, what is manuscriptology, etc., etc. So it was my own effort to locate a manuscript, to see a rare manuscript, to try to read it, to decipher the letters, and this way I got interested in studying many manuscripts. But one tip to the youngsters here, don't go for a bigger manuscript. Try to take a very small manuscript. So if you complete the manuscript, you get the confidence that you can work on it. And my first manuscript on which I worked was a very small manuscript known as Vipralapa. Unmatta Pralapa. Unmatta Pralapa is a manuscript in Oriental Institute. It contains 26 Anushtup verses. And what we call Samsara Maranopaya, said repose, he has described them as Samsara Taranopaya. So that was my first article, which was published in the Asiatic Society Journal somewhere in 1981. And that way I started getting interested in manuscript studies. The problem with me was, there was one connection of, he was J.P. Thakur, who was our deputy director. He happened, and I happened to be student of Professor in his later years, in my earlier as, as a scholar, when I was working under him for a PhD. So J.P. Thakur, person coming from Bombay and bringing out new manuscripts in Gujarati. See, Gujarat has a very peculiar, Gujarati Jains have a very peculiar way of writing the manuscript, which is known as Prushtha Matra or Padi Matra. See, we write Aushadha, O and Au, but they write that Matra on the left hand side. So that is Padi Matra, Prushtha Matra, which is at the back. So that is a bit difficult to read. So J.P. Thakur sir encouraged me to read Jain manuscript. So along with Jain manuscript, I studied Jainism also, as well as the Matra. And that way, I, so to say, increase my knowledge of manuscript studies. Unfortunately for me, again, after 3 years of my service there, J.P. Thakur sir retired, and then I was, so to say, led me to work more serious on games. Everybody knows it. Games are supposed to be a recognized field of research. So slowly and slowly, I got interested in manuscript studies. So today, as I am told, I am supposed to give a very brief outline of what is manuscript, what is manuscriptology, and what is the importance most of the listeners anybody who has not studied manuscript, anybody is there?
Sir, please unmute yourself.
Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir, you are audible now.
Audible? Was there some problem?
Yes, yes, yes. Sir, you can start.
All right. Should I start from the beginning?
No. Just 5 minutes back.
What is importance of marriage studies? Should I touch on that topic?
Yes.
Should I admit everyone?
Yes. With the basic term manuscriptology. What is a manuscript? Manuscript is anything which is written by your hand. Generally, what we call manuscript is the manuscript written by hand or carved by this on the palm leaf, etc. But can be extended to other writing aids, even painting also can. So whatever is done by hand, written by hand, inscribed by hand, carved by hand, is supposed to be a manuscript. So manuscript is a thing which is a new thing, but we have to differentiate between two things. Inscriptions, etc., are hard, so to say, materials, and paper, bhurjapatra, are soft materials. One more thing, inscriptions cannot be recopied. That is one for all. Manuscript can be copied, recopied, etc. Rock edicts also same thing. So inscription, rock edicts, etc., are though they are manuscript, they don't form the subject of our study in this lecture, because we study manuscripts written in different script on different materials. That is the first thing. And the main difference between a manuscript and a book is a printed book, is that manuscript doesn't have punctuation marks. So, viram, ardhaviram, comma, semicolon, it's nothing like that. So, printed book has hardly except that danda or dot. Now, why should we study manuscript? What it is? Sometimes it's so say, but we don't have it did exist. I'll give a couple of examples. Till 1909, we knew that there is some work known as Arthashastra of Kautilya. But we had no idea, we had no hardcore evidence. R. Ramashastri, Chamashastri edited it. Then we came to know that yes, there was this work which traditionally came down to us, but now it is in the form of a book. Same thing happened with Bhasa Nataka Chakra also. We knew Bhasa, Kalidas had referred to Bhasa, but we did not have actual evidence of the existence of Bhasa Nataka. So we can say we get an inkling, an idea of missing links of historical and cultural importance. So cultural importance, historical importance, with other importance. So when a person goes back to a manuscript to study, first thing he has to do is whether that manuscript has anything new to say, whether it is published, whether it is printed, whether it is studied. So when you go to a manuscript study, these are the basic questions, whether the manuscript is available in any other place or in one place. whether it has any important thing to offer, any new knowledge to give to the society, which will be able to further your knowledge. See, there is one manuscript known as Dhatu Marana Vidhi. You know what is Dhatu Marana Vidhi? Dhatu Marana Vidhi. Dhatu is all the metals. So that gold, etc. And then you have to change them into something else. Base metal into gold or that. So that is Dhatu Marana scaling, that means reviving. So that is a form of chemistry or alchemy. So Dhatu Marana Vidhi was more important in Ayurveda and alchemy. So these were the things which we came to know through the study of the manuscript. So when you go to study a manuscript, first thing you have to do is go to a library, or better way, go to a manuscript catalog. See the index of the catalog. If you are interested in some kind of manuscript or title, a catchy title,
सर आवाज क्रॅक होतोय. सर आवाज क्रॅक होतोय. क्रॅक होतोय आवाज. व्हिडिओ
stay in mountainous range. So they may
आवाज क्रॅक होतोय सर. बरं.
Am I audible? Am I audible? Hello,
Yes, yes. Yes, sir.
ऐकू येतंय?
हो 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 येत आहे.
हा?
हो येत
येतंय?
आहे.
चालू करू? कुठपर्यंत आलो होतो आपण? We were discussing the importance of manuscriptology. See, when we study manuscript or manuscriptology, we have to remember one thing, that there are allied subjects which are useful in understanding a manuscript. Something like epigraphy, history, archaeology. I'll come to that tomorrow when we do what kind of scope is there for research connected with manuscripts. Now we come to the next. There are 2-3 varieties of manuscript. That is supposed to be very rare. And generally, I have 2-3 copies of some manuscript which are autograph copies and which are only manuscript, so unique codex. Then there are other manuscripts. Bharata Nandya Bharata Vasya is a unique comic work that is unique codex. There is no other comment manuscript available. There is one work at Shata Pashtottari written by Ayodhya Prasad. It is also a only copy, unique codex. I have edited that work, and Shata Pashtottari is a work on Advaita Vedanta. The students ask 100 questions, and the teacher gives the answer to that, and it covers the entire gamut of Vedanta, including yoga, etc. So kinds of texts is one is only manuscript. There are some 2-3 manuscripts. There are large number of manuscripts. So depending on that, we can take up some work. If you are interested in only 2 or 3 manuscripts, you can be in a position to finish the work very easily. If the number of copies is more, then the work becomes a little bit lengthy, a little bit difficult, because you have to compare manuscripts, collect manuscripts, compare them, all collation, etc. There is another variety of division, that is fluid text. Fluid text is fluid text and static text. Static text is Vedas, etc. That's like they don't change. Fluid text is transmitted by oral, mouth, etc. That means you can say Ramayana, Mahabharata, etc. They transmit Puranas, etc. So this is one way of dividing the manuscript. It takes a number of manuscripts, large number. Then we come to the actual, what is a manuscript? How do you describe a manuscript? What is its physical appearance? What is its physical description? Then we come to a very important thing. What is we call a page of a book. So that is folio of a manuscript. 2 pages mean 1 folio. 1 folio has 2 sides, and that is 2 pages. So important is how many folios are there in a manuscript. So if you are interested in working on a smaller manuscript, you can choose according to extent, 5 folios, 10 folios, 17 folios, like that. Again, there is one more thing. A folio may be less in number, manuscript may be less in number, but the writing must be very, very near. So Paraspara Lagna. So that may increase your burden of deciphering it as well as the extent of it. So folio is important, and then the number of lines on a folio. If there are 8 lines on a folio and 10, 50, 60 letters in a line, then you can know the approximate extent of how many verses are there. And the verses, what we call shloka in Sanskrit, as a different technical term in manuscript, which is known as grantha or grantha sankhya. See, grantha sankhya is a mathematics. 32 letters means one grantha. So this grantha is different from a textbook or book. Grantha sankhya is the shlokas which are divided into 32 letters. I'll give one example. What 32 is considered to be the measurement of grantha. In Vedic times, there were Gayatri Mantra was there. 8 letters, 3 padas. But the classical meter is supposed to be understood because that was the first verse uttered by Maharshi Valmiki while cursing the Paradhi or hunter. Manishada Pradesh Tvam Agamaha Shashwatihi Samaha Yat Kauncha Mithunat Ekam Avadhihi Kamamohitam. So this is understood and Ramayana is supposed to be the Adi Kavya and understood so containing 4 lines of 8 letters is supposed to be one Grantha. So that is the major difference. One Grantha is collection of 32 letters. So if it is Kashti, Kanta, Virha, Guna, Swadi, Kara, Pramata, 17 lines, letters, then we have to count all the letters and divide by 30. So it will be 2 Grantha and something like that. So Grantha Sankhya was important for 2 reasons. One is to know the exact extent of the word, how big or how long it is, or how bigger it is. And the other point was economic. See, those days, we didn't have printing presses. So if you wanted to have a copy of a particular manuscript, you were supposed to pay for that. And in Indian culture, even Hinduism and Jainism, Pustaka Dana was supposed to be a Punya Kara. So you write down a manuscript. It was a Grantha. It was as if you are paying your homage to a god. It was a Punya Karma. So a person doing Punya Karma was supposed to be given something. So in order to know the approximate cost of writing down a manuscript, this Grantha Sankhya concept was evolved. Unfortunately, till now, I have not been able to finally, or so to say, to decode a document which says what was the price given for copying down the manuscript. No such record I have been able to retrieve. Possibly there might be some record somewhere in there, some Modi script or something. But as far as the Sanskrit text I have been working for last 45 years, in none of the manuscript catalogs or manuscript depositories, I could get a particular document which say that 10 paisa are to be given for one sloka, one grantha, etc., etc. So that cost is not known. And in olden days, there was a class of writers which were known as Kayasthas. Kayasthas was not a caste. Kayastha was a class of writers and it was a respectable class of writers of manuscripts. And they say Kayasena Likitam. So they were, so to say, proud of their being the Kayastha, being the person who are helping other persons to understand the work of a manuscript and to read it. Get the point? So for this reason, Grantha Sankhya was important. Then next line was, what is the size of that manuscript? See, palm leaf manuscripts are longer. Paper manuscripts are shorter. Get the point? So palm leaves are longer, paper manuscripts are shorter, and sometimes it so happens that sometimes it so happens that we have to suggest the end of manuscript. What was the practice those days? See, they used to draw flowers or floral designs to suggest that this manuscript is over. So that Pushpakriti was supposed to be the end of a manuscript. So therefore, that portion, which is the end portion of the manuscript, is known in Sanskrit as Pushpika. In English, it is known as colophon. Colophon is the most important matter or most important source of information of a manuscript because in a colophon you get so much of information. For example, who composed the work, who wrote the commentary on it, who composed the commentary, I should say, who wrote down, who copied the manuscript, for whom, Atma Pathanartham, Putra Pathanartham, where did you copy it, at what cost it was copied, who was a copywriter or lekhanika or a scribe, for whom he wrote, in which place, Vodadara Grame, Vatapattali Likhitam, and if you go to Asiatic Society Bombay, there is a collection of manuscripts of Bhagwan Lal Indraji, who was supposed to be very close to Dr. Bhaudaji Lal. And Bhaudaji Lal and Bhagwan Lal Indraji both worked together on inscription, historical documents, Sanskrit studies, etc., etc. And Bhagwan Lal Indraji was sent on mission by Dr. Bhaudaji to go to different places to collect manuscripts, to purchase manuscripts, to write down manuscripts, and he had collected 216 manuscripts total from places as far as Varanasi and Nepal also. You may be interested in knowing that I wrote a very long article, Contribution of Bhagwan Lal Indraji to the study of Sanskrit, and that was published by the Asiatic Society Bombay in the Bhagwan Lal Indraji special volume. So I had stayed in Bombay for 5 days. I read each and every manuscript of Bhagwan Lal Indraji, right from beginning to end, and wrote that article wherein I have given the details. Bhagwan Lal is Atma Pathanartham, Putra Pathanartham, Bhaudaji Kurte Likhitam, Mudra Pitam, something like. All these things are given in the last portion, which is known as colophon. See, if you go to the newspaper, at the end of the paper, last page, you see printed at the Times of India Press, 1, Dadabhai Naoroji Road, Mumbai 400001. That is the colophon. So you get the information in that colophon about the work, the composer of the work, if there is any commentary, the composer of the commentary, any writer, number of works. You can get the family tree also, Kula Parampara or Guru Parampara of the particular scholar in the colophon. Asya Putena, Asya Shishyana, these two is Murandayamal, Milindayamal, etc., etc. So colophon is supposed to be the most important indicator of the importance of a manuscript. So when we go to manuscript studies, go to, see, generally what I do, if a book comes to me or a thesis comes for examination, first thing I go to do is see the bibliography. From the bibliography, you can come to know the amount of effort the scholar has taken. Of course, this is not 100% proof. There are some scholars who lengthen the list of the bibliography without even able to know the book or see the book. I have that experience. See, 45 years I am in manuscript field, and I have been correcting theses from all over India. And one good thing about me is, since I know Marathi, I know Gujarati, and I stay in Gujarat, most of these theses from Maharashtra come to me because they are either in Marathi or also English. So that it gives me a very good opportunity to judge the worth of a work. So sometimes it should happen. Tomorrow we'll see what happens, how we have to do. So tomorrow I will talk to you about training the trainer. That is the corporate rule nowadays. So when we come to the pustikas, designs, floral designs, etc., that adds, the designs add value to the work. And when you are a good artist, it so happens you can't prevent yourself from painting on the manuscript. So we have a different set of manuscript study, branch of manuscript study known as Ragamala paintings. That is Sangeet Raga. So pictorial description of Raga and literary description of Raga. So Ragamala paintings is a new field of research. We have 112 illustrated manuscripts in Orient Institute, Baroda. One of that is the golden letter manuscript of Kalpasutra. A copy of 12 books is available in Ishaq Society also. So there is every possibility that a good student of Sanskrit, he has a knack of painting, etc., can work on painting illustrated manuscripts also. And importance of illustrated manuscripts to hold. One is you can know the place from where the painter comes, whether it is Maharashtra, whether it is medieval period, whether it is Bengali school, whether it is Garhwali school, etc. So the area also is known, and the manuscripts, we have a very rare manuscript of Saundarya. It is the only manuscript in the world which has 105 pictures and 105 shlokas of Saundarya. No other manuscript. Baroda Museum has manuscript of Saundarya, but it doesn't have 100 pictures. And Norman Brown, the great scholar, edited our Saundarya from Harvard to in 1955, and still it is supposed to be an outstanding work. Now, some 10 years back, we have reprinted, or we can say we have re-edited the entire Saundarya with color pictures and Marathi, Hindi, English, and Gujarati translation. It cost some 1,000 rupees. That was in somewhere 2009, 10 or 11. So Ragamala paintings or illustrated manuscripts is also one of the important aspects of manuscript studies. Now, there is another way of expressing the nature of a manuscript. Audible? Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, yes,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes. I'll continue. See, manuscripts are divided according to size also. See, in olden days, we used to get the Bhagavad Gita printed by Gita Press Gorakhpur, and it was a Mushti Pustaka. It can be held in your fist. So Mushti Pustaka was a variety of manuscript. Then we have Shunda manuscript. You know what is Shunda? Shunda is the trunk of the elephant. That means there is no distinction between the text and the commentary. Continuously written. So that is like a Shunda of an elephant. Another variety developed by Jain was dividing a page of the word, page of a manuscript, you can say, folio of a manuscript, part of a manuscript, in 2, 3, or 5. See, generally what happens, we have Sanskrit text on the upper side and Marathi translation on the lower side. So that is Dvipatha, 2 patha. We have many manuscripts are edited as 3 parts. That is, the text is in the middle and commentary on the upper side as well as the lower side. And we have a Panchapatha manuscript of Bhaktamara Stotra. It's a Jain Stotra where the text is written in the middle and the commentary starts on the top, comes to the bottom, remaining portion from the left hand side coming to the right. That is Panchapatha. Different portions of a man. So Dvipatha, Tripatha, and Panchapatha. This was the speciality of the Jain scholars. And you may be the greatest contribution to writing of manuscript, preserving of manuscript is done by the Jain scholars. Muni Punneji and Muni Jin Vijay. These were 2 scholars from Ahmedabad who did a lot of work, and they brought out a very important work known as Jaina Chitra Kalpadruma. It was edited by Sarabhai Nawab from Ahmedabad in 1936, and the important that is, in spite of, you can say, besides the color pictures of chitras of different manuscripts, there is a long article, Bharatiya Lekhan Vigyan Shramana Kala, that is the contribution of Jains to the writing system of manuscripts. If anybody is able to read Gujarati, you must read this article. It is, I don't say use the word Bible or Torah, it is the Bhagavad Gita. Just like learning so many things which are available, which are used with manuscript. So this Chitra Pustaka or illustrated manuscript or color manuscript, Pushtamatra, Padimatra, Upper, now we come to another important topic of the writer, scribe. We don't call him Lekhak, in Marathi Lekhak is the author. But in Sanskrit technical, Lekhak or Lekhanika is a Lipika, a Lipikara, who copies down the manuscript, the scribe. Either he writes on paper or he carves or engraves with a stylus on a palm. So it is not writing, it is engraving, it is carving. So when we come to the scribe and his tools and handwriting, I come from a school in Bombay which is known for students having excellent handwriting. I don't claim that my handwriting is so good. Balmohan Vidya Mandir, Shivaji Park, the school is just opposite my house. I studied there, and it was, so to say, the most important contribution of that school to the students' handwriting was everybody had good handwriting. And in SSC paper, they would know that this student comes from Balmohan. I got one inkling of this. I was teaching in Ruparel College in place of Dr. Asate Toroskar. She was on leave. So I was sitting in the common room and there was SSC examination going on. Somebody said, "Oh, wonderful handwriting. He must be from Balmohan Vidya. I just smiled. And then immediately that teacher, "Why did you smile?" I said, "Nothing, nothing, no, something there." I said, "I also come from the same school." "Oh, that is the reason why your handwriting, I don't say is good, was good." Now it's not so. And in C, it is a saying that intelligent scholars have bad handwriting. Intelligent scholars have bad handwriting. And I had the privilege of personally talking to the great Mahamopadhyay P.G. Kanu. He said, "My handwriting is very bad." I saw it. We had once a director, Dr. N. Jani, very good scholar. His handwriting also was very bad. So they used to say, intelligent scholars have bad handwriting. But I said, the converse is not necessarily true. All bad handwriters don't have intelligence, need not have intelligence. So handwriting is a very important aspect of manuscript study. There is a system of handwriting. There is a system of copying down. You know the verses, Sakruta, Gruhi, Tarthod, etc. I need not repeat those verses. The students of manuscript have studied everything. But the important thing is your handwriting should be clear. Parasparam alagnani aksharani. They should not be mixed together. No overwriting. It should be as clear as possible so that the reader may not be in a position to strain his eyes to decipher your letter. So handwriting was one of the important aspects, and on the basis of that, there were three varieties of writers. One was simple writer, scribe. Scribe was known as Kayastha, who read just manuscripts, finished. To him, he gave the copy. They were Lekhaka, that is writing religious, etc. And third was Shasana Lekhaka. Shasana Lekhaka, that means a person who was interested with the work of writing down, inscribing, engraving the Shasana, that means official government documents, dastavej, for example, inscriptions, proper glance. Your handwriting must be, and that requires more skill. You must have really good hand. Your handwriting will give you the highest reward of being a Raja Sasaka, a Raja Lekhak. So Raja Lekhak has a different qualifications. Simple Lekhak has different qualifications. Something like he should be able to listen and immediately write down. He should be able to concentrate so that it does not lead to pronunciation. Because pronunciation makes a difference. Sakrut, sakrut, etc. You know all this. So writer should be Jitendriya. He should have concentration while writing down, while listening to, understanding as well as writing. Now, when we come to writing, naturally calligraphy comes. So Sulekhana Vidya. So that was a part of his personality. And you must have known so many verses. How with much difficulty I have written down this Grantha in the English book. So don't waste it. Don't spoil it. Yatnena lichitam shastram, yatner paripalayet. So I have written it down with much difficulty. Bhagna pustakati griva, stabda drushti, kastena lichitam. So with much back, etc., looking like this, slanging eyes, this eye, that eyes, and I've done these things. So do have some respect for the effort which I've done to copy down the manuscript, which is the punya karma. So पहला तरफ से पहला तरफ से शीतल बंधना and most important so I think you know it Shambhusham Sakapatevat Parakra Draksham Cha Suksetanava. You know this word, I don't want to repeat it, but you have to look to your manuscript like your child. See, if a lady gets a doctor, she dates the doctor in the form of Lord Krishna. And if a boy is there, he dates in the form of a Radha. So how do you date your doctor, son or doctor? With the same care, you should look at your manuscript. Raksham Parakara, you should protect your manuscript from others' hand. Don't allow your manuscript to be carried away because it was a punya karma. Writing down the manuscript of punya karma, so there should be no path of carrying it out. So all these are, you know, your teacher must have, so to say, told you all these things. You are doing, I think there is a diploma in manuscriptology, or certificate course also. You have a certificate course or diploma course. Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, yes, sir. It is a diploma course.
I am audible. Yeah, diploma course. So these points, I think they must be covered in these points, no? These points must be covered because these are all basic things. Now we come to the next point of preservation of manuscripts. Yogakshema of a manuscript. What is Yogakshema? We have got the manuscript and we have to preserve it. See, there are two ways. The way we follow in Baroda is traditionally, Ayurveda. See, we have a vanaspati known in Sanskrit as Vacha or Ugragandha, which is known in Marathi as Mekhand and in Gujarati as Goda words, which is strong smelling Ugragandha. So strong smelling things are put near the manuscript. This is one thing. Nimba is there. Nimba is Stabilimba. Then you have Karpura also. And for farmless manuscript, the most important, they apply citronella oil. Citronella oil is known as narangi pate. So that is available only in the south. You used to purchase the citronella oil from Bangalore. So citronella oil is applied to the palm leaf manuscript with two purposes. One, to preserve them, and second, to make the letters readable. See, sometimes when you inscribe on it, after some time, it fades away. So either you have to, so to say, apply citronella oil, or chalk powder is to be put to it, so the letters are. Get one? So these were the traditional ways of preservation. I don't the national emboss. You don't use national emboss already. So we only use water. And we had fumigation chamber. You know what is thymol? Thymol? Or see, something is thymol crystals are put in a crucible, then they are heated, are kept on a shelf, and with the fumes of that, the what we call insects, etc., get destroyed. So that is fumigation chamber. Nowadays it is not used. I saw fumigation chamber only once in use in my 35 years of service in Orient Space. Because basically we had very good manuscripts. So we really had to go in for that time. After this, how many more? Hello? How many more minutes I'm supposed to speak? Hello? Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Am I
sir.
audible?
Yes,
So how
sir.
many minutes I'm supposed to speak now? 10 minutes, 15 minutes? What is the time? Madhavi madam, Shakuntala madam, how
Yes,
long I'm supposed to speak?
Yes, sir.
How much?
There is still time. You
10
can
minutes, 15
continue.
minutes, how much?
10-15 minutes
Continue
more.
for how long?
Then we can have question answers.
10, 15, okay. So you can have question answers now also. So tomorrow we can go to the research field. Just ask your colleagues if they are anywhere. They want to question anything, any queries, etc. Any queries,
No, no, no.
questions,
No, sir.
answers? No? So should I continue or
Sir,
stop?
your voice is cracking.
No, that is a problem. There is some,
Your voice is cracking, sir.
that way I am audible to you, no?
No,
It's
no, no,
cracking.
no. Right now, your voice is cracking.
Now is it okay?
Yes, now it is okay.
Oh, it is okay. So should I speak for 15 more minutes? And 15
Yes,
minutes,
sir.
okay?
Yes, sir.
Hello? All right.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Yes, yes. See, now we came to our basic information about manuscript. The most important thing about manuscript is how were we supposed to locate a manuscript, to see a manuscript, to collect a manuscript, what were the efforts made in this direction. So, as I always say, East India. And when the British to our
तुझ्या
culture,
अभ्यासाला
let's say, to
काय
our culture,
सांगितलं,
study
मला
of
असं
something,
वाटतं,
not
तुला
only
हे
to think.
असणार. मग काय करायचं?
Hello, काय म्हणते? Hello, hello, मला काय म्हणाले का?
सर तुम्ही कंटिन्यू
Hello?
करा. हॅलो.
अच्छा, आता मला काय म्हणाले? See, the Britishers started taking interest in our language, in our culture, in our religion. And in order to know our culture, they started studying something. So their interest in studying Sanskrit was to know the culture of India and into bracket to twist it to suit their ulterior motives. So that is second part. But when they came to Calcutta, they got interested in the Sanskrit studies and they established the Asiatic Society of Calcutta on 15th January 1784. One Park Street, that is the address of Asiatic Society. So, with the establishment of Asiatic Society, they started the work of collecting the manuscript from nearby areas. Then they started Asiatic, the journal, very important journal, Asiatic Researches, where the results of the research were included as research. Then came to Bombay, 1804. The Bombay branch of the Royal Asiatic Society was established in Bombay. So when you go to a manuscript catalog or new catalog catalog, the Bombay Asiatic Society Library is Signal E, BBRAS. So you will not get manuscript Asiatic Society Bombay, you will not get manuscript like that. It will be BBRAS, Bombay branch of Royal Asiatic Society. And in 1866, the government of India, I should say, the government of Bombay Presidency, because as everybody knows, you are the graduates of the Bombay University. The Britishers established three universities in 1857. Somewhere in February 1857, it is Calcutta. May it was Bombay University, and June or July 1857, they established Madras University. And there are three presidencies: Bombay Presidency, Madras Presidency, and Calcutta Presidency. So Calcutta Presidency caters for the northeastern, Madras Presidency southward, and Bombay Presidency right from Lahore in modern Pakistan to Kerala. All the coastal line was covered under Bombay Presidency. Sorry. So Bombay Presidency passed a resolution in 1866 giving some amount, say 500 rupees per year, to scholars to go to different places and collect or purchase manuscripts. Very important of those were Dr. George Miller, Dr. Peter Peterson, Dr. R.G. Bhandarkar, Pandit Abasaheb Kathote. These were the persons earlier. So they made financial provision for the purchasing of manuscripts of a tool in search of manuscript studies in British times, and in order to collect manuscripts. See, Kunte Shastri went as far as Lahore in those days, and they visited private libraries, they visited mathas, they visited Jain temples, they visited kingdoms, that is royal families, and tried to collect as much material, either purchase them or write them down or bring them back to a central place. This was those days Bombay, especially Essential College, this was the government college. After that, there was Deccan College, and now all these material is now deposited, most of the material deposited in Bhandar Institute. So with the establishment of these universities and the financial provision to go in search of, you must be knowing, R.G. Bhandarkar has 6 reports in search of manuscripts. 6 reports prepared by Dr. R.G. Bhandarkar, after whom the Bhandarkar Institute is named. So he was the lion of that days. So 6 reports by him. Peter Peterson was from South India. So they divided the work into groups, and most of the British officers got interested. One was James Wilkinson. Have you heard his name? James Wilkinson? Wilkinson was a person. Wilkinson, Hinderley, and I tell you tomorrow. They established a school at Sihor in Madhya Pradesh near Bhopal, and they established a Sihor public school where all subjects were taught. What all subjects? Sanskrit, Marathi, English, Hindi, Arabic, Urdu, Persian, everything. And those teachers were a good lot of scholars. And one important result of that scholarship is in our hands. I have a manuscript known as Kalandika Prakasa, alternatively as Sarva Vidya Udyosha. It is composed by Somanatha Vyasa, a Sahasra Auditya Brahmin from Gujarat, settled in Sihor at Madhya Pradesh, working as a Sanskrit teacher in Sihor Public School at a salary of only rupees 60 per month. Those days 60 rupees. He composed many works, wrote commentaries on that. And this Kalandika Prakash is supposed to be an encyclopedia in Sanskrit, just like Shivatattva Ratnakara or Manasollasa. Whatever knowledge Somanath Vyas had of Sanskrit is contained in first three chapters. Prathama, Dvitiya, Tritiya Prakasha, and fourth Prakasha is all the knowledge of modern sciences, including physics, chemistry, mathematics, acoustics, statistics, dietetics, which he could get with the help of the science teacher from the British side. So whatever science developed in 1740, sorry, 1840 is included by this man in his Kalandika Prakasha, which was composed in 1841 AD, much before the first war of independence, fought in 1857. So Kalandika Prakasha, and he has written Putra Bhagiratha Pathanartham. So he has written the word for the Pathana, for the teaching officer known as Bhagiratha. So the common form says, Somanatha Vyasa Putra Bhagiratha Pathanartham. I have a copy with me. So these were the Britishers who encouraged Sanskrit not only by collecting manuscripts but establishing institutions where Sanskrit will be taught, further studies in Sanskrit could be done, and they have done a lot of work in institutions also. So institutions are there which are studied. So Britishers is was a kind of a boon to Sanskrit studies. We don't get so much, so to say, influenced by that. They did it with an ulterior motive. Because if you study the introduction of Britishers and the introduction of the Germans to any word, you will find the difference. See the introduction of Molière Williams dictionary and see any work of German. So German had real interest in study, but these Britishers wanted to prove that Indians are inferior to us, and Britishers. And one more thing, I give one example and we stop. There was one scholar known as John Way in UIR. Have you heard his name? John Way. All Sanskrit scholars have heard his name because they have studied his book, Original Sanskrit Text in 5 volumes. Am I right? Of the John Way is not known to anyone. I got it with the help of a manuscript which is deposited in the Asiatic Society of Bombay, and the name of the manuscript is Mata Pariksha. Mata Pariksha, I alternately known as an argument against Hinduism. So John Way studied Sanskrit with a Pandita and wrote a work titled Mata Pariksha, where he had examined the mata of Christian and Hindus and tried to prove that Christianity is superior to Hindus. But Sanskrit scholars, like most of them today, were indifferent to that. He first published that book, Mata Pariksha, in 1840, second edition 1844, and third edition 1861 from Calcutta. But when 1840 he first published the book, only three Indian scholars, Sanskrit Pandits, took cognizance of that. One was Bharachandra Tarka Panchanana, a very poor Bengali scholar, Brahmin from Calcutta, who wrote Mata Pariksha Uttara and sent a letter to John Muir that if you are ready to publish my work, cover the cost of public, I can give a more bigger answer to your voluminous work. Second was Subhaji Bapu. Subhaji Bapu was a Telugu man, was a good scholar of Jyotisha and helped Wilkinson in editing Sanskrit work. And third was 19-year-old Banaras Pandit known as Narayan Shastri Gore. So this 19-year-old Pandit from Banaras literally destroyed each and every argument of John Muir and wrote a voluminous work titled as Shastra Tattva Vinirnaya. That manuscript is in Sindhya Oriental Institute, Ujjain. So when John Muir came to know that this brilliant man has literally floored him, he devised a niti, a strategy, and he baptized it. Narayan Gore was baptized, made a Christian, and he took him to Queen Elizabeth, gave all types of facility to him, and converted him. And unfortunately for the Indians, after that, Narayan Shastri Gore was christened as Nehe Nehe Gore, and from that day onwards, he started writing against the Hindu customs of, you can say, Jati Vivaha, Bala Vivaha, Sati Vivaha. So whatever culture, they were highlighted, those books with Hindi translation by John Muir of his Christianity, Christianization of majority of the Hindus. As a reward for that, the British government established a college in Allahabad, which is known as John Muir College. You have heard John Muir, his works. But one wonderful part of the later part of John Muir was when he wrote the third edition, he brought out the third edition of the Mata Pariksha, he was almost completely Hinduized. So he christened our man and he leaned towards Hinduism. And in third volume, he had accepted, third edition, brought out in 1861. I have the copy of this. I'll give you the history of that. And he completely became a Hindu scholar. Our man became a Christian scholar. He became a Hindu scholar. That trend still continues. We don't love our Ram and Krishna, but they, for those person in search of mental peace, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Yoga, they come here. So this is the reverse. I come to the next point. There was one practicing Padri, practicing father, we call Padri Marathi, Richard Fox Young. He wrote a book, Resistant Hinduism. He wrote a book known as Resistant Hinduism. That is the tussle between Hindu scholars and Christian scholars. Tussle, literary tussle. But how many of the persons who are arranging interfaith conferences in India and outside know the name of the work Mata Pariksha or even this resistance? This man, I met him, and that Subhaji Bapu, when I gave my research, I know I have committed mistake. You have pointed out the identity of Somnath Vyas, which is different from Subhaji Bapu, who helped James Wilkins. So that letter is still with me. And that book, he gives a wonderful account of how the Christians tried to convert Hindu scholars first and then propagated their religion. But the wonderful part, or the tragic part of Narayan Shetty Gore was, he was not able to convince his wife or his younger brother to convert to Christianity, and he died a very pitiable death at the hands of the Christians. So he lost his life, he lost his credibility as a Sanskrit scholar also, he lost his relatives also, only because he went against Dharma. So extremely intelligent fellows should be very careful that they don't get mentally deranged. He was mentally deranged. So this is the quality of extremely intelligent person. आपण म्हणतो ना, अति शहाणा त्याचा बैल रिकामा. That is the way. So instead of working for Hindus, he worked against the Hindus and suffered a lot and died a very, very pitiable or poor way of dying. Nobody was with him at the time of his death. All relatives forsaken him. That was the fruit he got for the treachery he did for our religion. I think I should stop here. I took 20 minutes. You had allowed me 15 minutes only. Now, if anybody has any query, you can ask me after a couple of minutes. Any questions? Hello? Am I audible?
हो सर, हो सर.
ऐकू येते का? Hello?
Yes sir, you are
Hello?
audible.
हाँ. थोड़ा सा प्रश्न वगैरह आहेत का?
Participants can raise their hand so that they can ask questions. I will unmute them. Is there any question? I think there is no question. Thanks a lot, sir. Thanks a lot, sir, for your scholarly thoughts on importance of manuscriptology study. You very briefly introduced us about the manuscripts on which you work and underline their importance as well. I thank you once again. My sincere thanks to all eminent scholars and students. I thank UCC department to provide us the facility of Zoom and YouTube Live. Tomorrow we will meet again at 3:30. Thank you. Madhavi madam.
Okay. Good.
Yes.
माधवी मॅडम,
Yes.
तुम्ही मीटिंग बंद करा, एंड करू शकता तुम्ही मीटिंग.
Okay. Yeah, I will do that.
पहिलं करते